All right, what's up, guys? So I wanted to talk about projection. And I know I've talked about this before. I'm actually considering changing this channel name to Always Projecting because I think projection is the most fascinating part of the cognitive functions. And I've just been processing this little NI concept for months now, how we're always projecting. We're always projecting our processing on everybody else, on the entire world around us. And unconsciously, just constantly doing it. So I wanted to talk about one of the aspects of this projection, which is honesty. One of the effects of projection is that we assign certain meaning to words that doesn't always align as well as we think they do. Words are a human convention to make meaning, to assign meaning and tag a word to represent that meaning. A word is a symbol of human experience, but the problem is we all experience things differently. Naive realism is the idea that the way that we experience the world is relatively objective, and basically everybody kind of experiences the same objective reality, but it's not actually true. And science is more and more demonstrating that we all have a very subjective experience of reality. And this is true in not only how we describe our reality, experience our reality, but also the way we understand words. And so I wanted to really tease this out from a function perspective, because I've seen this especially in two functions, and I want to talk about what it means, and I think how these two different functions are experiencing a certain word, honesty, very differently. So let's divide humans into two categories. There are 8 cognitive functions. There are 4 functions that are decider functions, right? You've got introverted thinking, extroverted thinking. 2 of those are introverted. So that's what I want to focus on, is the inner world. So you've got 2 options, TI and FI. Everybody has one or the other. And I want to make the case in this brief video that TI and FI conceptualize of honesty completely differently. They'll both say honesty, they'll say the word, but they mean something so different by it. And what fascinates me the most about these little misses that we have, these different ways that we experience and describe reality, is this is the source of human conflict. If you're not a decider like me, meaning you have a decider function at the top, an IP or an EJ would be a decider. If you're not an IP and an EJ, you might not be interested in this with the same degree that us deciders are, because we're really just trying to solve for people. But human conflict is very interesting to me. Surprise, surprise, right? That's a projection as an IP. But human conflict and where we miss each other really is fascinating to me. And this is one area where I've been contemplating how we misunderstand one another without actually internalizing that we're doing that. It'll be really interesting to see how the study of objective personality and the functions in the future will aid in more intentional communication. I think as we become more conscious as a species, we're going to realize that all of our experiences are so completely different that we have to modify our language in a way that respects the fact that everybody is projecting their functions. And I really think this will be very helpful just in communication in general. Anyway, that's big picture. So to the point, honesty. What does TI and FI mean when they say honesty? It's interesting because I have a bunch of close FI friends. In fact, most of my close guy friends in my life, I'm pretty sure have been FI. And when an FI says honesty, or I'm honest, or I prefer honesty, they can mean it in different ways, but the main way that I see them meaning it is authenticity. When an FI talks about I'm honest, they're saying that they are authentic, that they are not pulling any punches on how they feel, that feeling is expressed, that those values, whatever those are, whatever is most valuable and resonates with the FI, when they're sharing that transparently, that's honesty. Now, a TI describes honesty or understands and experiences honesty very differently, because TIs are very dishonest in the way that FI is honest. And I know in a lot of relationships I've been a part of, this has caused major issues because you come across as dishonest And it's just a mismatch. And two, the FI seems disingenuous in a way to the TI when the wires get crossed here. But for a TI, honesty does not mean authenticity of values or clarity of how you feel or a value system. For a TI, honesty means I give you all the facts. I'm going to be transparent with you about these, what we would consider reasonable, objective things. And that's very different from what FI is doing. And it may seem like this is splitting hairs, but it's really not, because this nuance can cause huge misunderstandings. The TI is not honest in the way that the FI is. In fact, relative to the FI, the TI is dishonest, and vice versa. Because the problem is, for a TI, we don't have an internal conception of 20 layers deep of what we value. We have no idea. Our feeling is extroverted. It's a broad spectrum. We're externalizing feeling. Feelings are a very strange, ethereal thing that don't really connect in the inner world. So it's hard for us to be emotionally authentic. We're not responsible for that. We're responsible for being reasonable, for being accurate, right? So honesty is accuracy for a TI. And that's not necessarily the case for FIs. One of the most frustrating things about FIs that I've interacted with over the years is that their version of honesty is not always accurate, because that's not how they define honesty. Honesty is not about accuracy unless you're referring to emotional authenticity. It may be, but for the TI, it's about accuracy. So I just wanted to share that with you. I wanted to throw that out there. If you have any thoughts about it, feel free to share. If you're a TI or an FI and you experience it differently, let me know. Or if you have nuances to that thought, feel free to share. This is by no means like fully definitive. It's just something I've observed. And the main thing I wanted to tease out is how we describe words and internalize and experience the words we say very differently. And I think this can go a long way in helping us to understand one another. TIs and FIs both say honesty, but we mean very different things by it. And our ethical constructs are connected to these meanings. So this is really important to tease this out for us to have better relationships, better connections with one another, and to see one another more clearly. So I hope this video was helpful for you guys. I plan to do more of these projecting videos because I think they're so insightful on just seeing that we all experience things so differently. So thanks for listening. See you guys next time.